breaking news you can use, folks. You're going to want to hear this. This is El Mac, a Scottish lass.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP.
So a black Scottish woman is actually going viral on the space of the social platform for invading on black people's business. This actually got the whole of the social platform reacting, and I was like, I never wanted to get myself involved with this, but I just want to share this. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes, because as it is black Scottish people, or like call them black Scots, all over the social platform, and some pancolor skirt is trying to make it look like, oh, there is no racist or there is no form of anything happening in Scotland. Let's dive into it. And
so obviously in the last couple of days we've just found out that the Americans didn't know that there was black Scottish people in Scotland, right? But the comment sections for me are just a little bit problematic. Do white people like black people over there? And that doesn't really sit right with me. Like, don't do that. Of course we like them because they're just normal human beings living their life. Like, don't do that. We don't differentiate here. You're just Scottish. That's it. The bottom line. You're just Scottish. We don't say white Scottish and black Scottish. That's not the way that it is here. It never has been that way here. If it has been, I've never been. How would we know because we're white? Well, we live here and it's a lived experience, right? So I just feel like it's a very American way of thinking, and it's just not the way that it is over here.
Americans discovered this week that black Scottish people exist and that they're real, and there's this mutual love going back and forth between black Americans and black Scots. And in the comment sections, black Americans are asking the black Scottish people, is it safe for us to come over there? How did they treat you over there? How's life over there? And I've seen several videos like this from white Scottish people where they're saying, we don't do race over here, people are just Scottish, we don't differentiate. Trust me when I say this to you, every black person in the world that lives in an either European or mainly white country knows that they're black. They have experienced microaggressions, macroaggressions, they have been called names, they have been made to feel other, they do feel othered, right? Whether it's super racism, a blatant racism like America, or it's covert racism like it is in the UK. The UK is a very apathetic place where they're told not to bring up things and not to be too boisterous, not to voice your opinion too much. Whereas in America, we talk our shit directly. And that's one thing I can say about everywhere I've lived in the world. Even though America is a racist place and has its issues, we still call out racism when it happens to us in the moment. Whereas a lot of places don't. But what's most intriguing to me is like, it's a white woman saying that black people asking black people if the country they live in likes black people is a very American way of thinking. It's not an American way of thinking. It's a skinfolk way of thinking. You will never know what it means to be black in this world and be othered and be one of the most hated groups of people just based on what we look like. And let's not forget, you're in Europe. Europeans invented racism. So therefore, definitely you may be an advanced person and you love everyone and you have black Scot friends, Asian Scot friends, but the Scottish people in Scotland are black British. That's their classification. Just like the Asian people in Scotland are Asian. Just like the Arabs in Scotland are Arab. So I don't see color, we don't do that over here vibe. It doesn't fly when it comes to black people because you'll never know what it means to be black. Also, just let black people talk to black people without y'all chiming in. This is you don't need to be a part of this conversation. Let black people talk to each other and let it be fun. To all the black Brits out there mad that black people discovered Scottish people, shut up. Enjoy your week.
Ooh, hold on, because I know y'all saw that white Scottish woman come up on this app, right? And she had a lot to say, and it was a lot. I took notes, girl. So we're gonna dive into it. I'm gonna be respectful and address her by her name. I think her page is called LMAC, so I'm gonna just address her as L. So we're gonna go down this little list here that I have, okay? So number one, you said that you are just now realizing that black Americans are discovering that there are black Scottish people, and that you found the comments in some of these videos problematic. And you said you thought the comments were problematic because you saw black Americans asking the black folk of Scotland if white people like black folk over there? Essentially, is it racist there? And you said, don't do that, don't do that. Pause. Because you are not understanding the context behind why that conversation is being had, why those questions are being asked. You see, we as Black Americans understand that anti-blackness is global. And Black Americans love to travel. We love to experience the world and see other cultures, and we love to recognize our cousins in every corner of the earth. But we also have to be mindful that we cannot travel everywhere safely. Not every place is safe for Black folk to visit, which is why we ask this question to gauge whether it is safe. A lot of us would like to leave America, and so if we happen to pick a place like Scotland or like Wales or like Japan, whatever the case may be, we are going to ask the Black people who live there and experience life daily as a Black person within that society whether it is safe for Black people to come into and live. That is not an answer for white people to answer. That is not an answer for anyone non-Black living in these places to answer. But you decided to take it upon yourself to answer the question and say, I've never seen it in my 34, 37, whatever age you said, years of life. Of course you haven't, because you're a white woman. Why would you see or experience anti-Black racism as a white woman? Just because you haven't experienced it does not mean it's not real or happening. It just doesn't happen to you because you are not affected. So the people in the comments saying, girl, how would you know? You're white. They're not wrong. And yes, it is an American way of thinking because we have been racialized, demonized, dehumanized, and terrorized for generations. That is the society we live in. We live in a society where everywhere we look is anti-Black, to where we had to have a handbook called the Green Book to tell us where it was safe to travel in the United States. Did you know that? So yes, we are going to take that mentality because we are on the defense. We are in a constant state of hyper-awareness and self-preservation because of our lived experiences, because we have to be. And we're going to carry that with us when we travel into new places. And we are going to ask our cousins, the Black folk over there, what it's like and if it is safe for us to enter into. Because who would know better than them? Why would we ask a white woman? Then you also said the only people I ever hear living in Scotland bringing up race are the racists. Oh! So there are racists in Scotland then, but you said you haven't experienced it. Right, because you haven't experienced it. You have heard it in passing and most likely have said nothing because it doesn't affect you. Because you like to say, well, I don't see it that way. I don't separate. They're just Scottish. They've always been here. They're just Scottish. But what you're doing when you do that is you are completely erasing the experience they have as being a melanated person living in a white dominated society. You are minimizing their experience and possible trauma that they are going through by being Black in these places. Just because you don't experience it or it doesn't affect you does not mean it's not happening. And it's weird that you're here trying to silence the voices of the people who are telling you it does, because we see you in your comments only liking the comments of white people who agree with you or the comments of people who are making you feel comfortable in your already way of thinking. That makes it feel like you're not really in this to learn anything. You weren't in this conversation to actually have a mind-breaking experience. You just wanted someone to affirm how you already thought and feel. You wanted to be coddled. You didn't actually want to listen to the experiences of Black Scottish people or Black Americans for that matter. And you said differentiating between Black Scots and just Scottish or any other British identity allows for the racists to come in and say, well, they're not white, so they don't belong. They need to go back to where they came from. Bookie, that's already happening. You just don't hear it or see it. I came across a video today of a Black Scottish girl who was on the transit, and a white Scottish woman told her to go back to her country. So again, we ask the question, do they like Black folk over there? Is it racist over there? That is not a question that a white woman anywhere can answer. This is a conversation between the Black diaspora, the Black community. No matter where we're from, we are always going to seek information from each other through our lived experiences. We are always going to believe and listen to what those experiences have learned. And when they tell us the information, we are going to sift through it and apply it to how we experience life here and how we would experience life if we go there. Because again, we are always in a state of hyper-awareness and self-preservation because we have had to be, because anti-Blackness is global. I understand that you said, well, I don't want it separated. I want us all to just be Scots. And that would be great. But that's not how the world works. That's not how it works with racialization and colonization and global anti-Blackness. That's just not reality. Yes, those people are Scottish. Absolutely. Because that's their nationality. They were born there. But their experience is still Black because that is their race. You don't experience life like a Black Scottish person experiences life. Just like white Americans don't experience life like Black Americans experience life. And it's clear that you did not have the context about American society or about the experience of Black people as a whole or Black culture to come into this conversation, because the question wasn't directed at you, and yet you still found a way to center yourself and your opinion within it. That is you leading with your whiteness instead of leading with empathy and understanding, because that's something that whiteness finds very hard to do. So sit back, let us speak to our cousins, let us have a Black ass conversation, and you just go on about your day and be happy. Keep on smiling, keep on loving people. But let's not erase and minimize the experience of people who do not look like you, because it 100% matters. I am so glad you were able to find a Black Scottish creator who could answer the question for you that you were so wanting to have an answer for about how Black Scottish people wanted to be addressed, because you personally had never seen or heard any white Scottish person referring to a Black Scottish person as Black Scottish. And I'm glad that she told you, yes, she would like to be identified as Black Scottish, because what we need to understand is, yes, Scottish is her nationality, that's where she was born, that's where she lives, but her race is Black. And that race being identified as Black and not white is drawing attention to and highlighting the experiences Black people have. That is why it's important. That is why it matters. Because again, the Scottish experience for a white person will differ from the Scottish experience of a Black person. I've already seen anti-Black comments talking about they're not real Scots, they're Africans, they're Caribbeans, and you're trying to convince us that that's not happening. But here's the thing, you addressed Black Americans. You didn't simply just ask a question like you're trying to so innocently put yourself out there like you did. You said that as you were going through the comments, you found Black Americans' conversation with Black Scottish people problematic because we asked about racism. That is the point. The fact that we asked how white people over there receive Black people, treat Black people, and what the Black experience is over in Scotland. You were triggered and offended and said it was problematic. And then you inserted your experiences as a white Scottish woman, saying, well, I've never experienced it in all my years. I've never seen it. I've never heard it. Then you asked the pointed question. So let's not act like you were completely innocent in the way that you addressed us personally, attacked us personally, without fully understanding the context of the conversation we were having, because the conversation we were having was a Black-ass conversation. You had no business being in it. You simply could have started your video with, hey, Black Scottish people, I would like to ask the question, how would you like to be addressed in Scotland? And left it at that. But you didn't. You centered your discomfort first and addressed Black Americans before you addressed the people that you were pointing your question to. Let's be real. And I sincerely hope that more Black Scottish people will show up, maybe in my comments, maybe in yours, to address exactly how they would like to be referred to, if they would like to be referred to as their race as well as their nationality. Whether they want to just be known as Scottish or Black Scottish. Because yes, these conversations do need to be had, but it's the way you went about it. And these are also the conversations that need to be had, because we are going to stand on correcting any sort of anti-Blackness or problematic behavior when we see it, especially when people butt their way into a conversation that had nothing to do with them.
This is another case study of colonial psychosis disorder. You're Scottish, so you have no idea what that is. Essentially, it's hot supremacy. And yes, I renamed this colonial psychosis disorder. That way, we're more likely to focus on the individual mentality rather than their complexion. And yes, racism comes in a spectrum, and you may not overtly hate Black people, but avoiding and ignoring their lived experience, well, that's a right to comfort. And on top of that, is a fear of open conflict, because claiming that a known global issue is problematic is putting your comfort over the lived experience of those of a darker complexion within your community. Because I did let you finish and I saw all your videos. Even you recognize that there is racism in Scotland, but you rather ignore it and run away from it. And that's not how you deal with racism, because it didn't take much scrolls for me to find racists on a train in Scotland, and this racist woman told her to go back to her own country. Mind you, she was born in Scotland. So this kumbaya, racism doesn't exist over here, is not real. If you want to live in this peace utopia where racism doesn't play a part in our lived experience, be like the other people in this video and stand up against racism, because going la 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 is not going to help.
Spraying Dettol all over the place, saying the place was effing stinking. Spraying Dettol all over the place, saying the place was effing stinking, and then moved seat behind me and said to go back to your own country. None of that's related to me, right? Okay.
No, it's nothing to do with your colour.
I thought I was losing my mind. And I was like, and I looked up and I was like, sweet old lady, wouldn't he? Would they? Aye.
It'll be fucking good.
Back to your own country. That's not right. Thank you. No, I knew she was being racist. Are you proud of that though? You're proud to be racist? Well, I'm embarrassed for you actually.
I've got nothing nice to say, you don't say anything at all.
You're proud to be you, you're being a racist. I was born here. I'm more Scottish than you probably. You're British.
Well,
alright. There'll be that Nigel Farage. He'll be shaking your horn actually.
Aye.
He'll be buzzing. Another another racist. Yes.
No, I did hear it as well, but I didn't.
I knew it and I thought I was going crazy, like you know that way. She was sitting here being racist and then writing on a little notepad racist things.
But I mean, she should understand morals and respect.
Exactly. I'm disappointed, that's all I can say. But I do appreciate.
No, it's alright.
I appreciate it. I do.
Don't tolerate it. No. I hope you're okay. I hope you have a good day.
Thanks, you too. See you later.
I'm trying to stay calm. I've had a very long journey today.
I'm trying to stay calm after you said really mean things to me, telling me to go back to my own country when I'm born here. Because of the colour of my skin, I don't think that's
to do with that.
Well, why else would you say it? You wouldn't say that to a white person, go back to your own country.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't, because they've got a Scottish accent. I've got a Scottish accent.
I didn't say that.
You did say that.
But I didn't mean
What did you not
British.
mean? British. I have a British passport. I'm classed as a British citizen.
That's alright.
And I was born here. But because of the colour of my skin, you presume I'm not.
Nothing to do with it.
Well, why? You wouldn't say that to a white person with a Scottish accent, go back to your own country. Why do you think? Why did you? Donald Trump is an American man. So I don't know where you're going with that, but I have to call out. I'm not impressed with that, and I'm going to have to tell you that. And I'm sorry you've had a bad day, but you can't just go about saying that to people. It's not on. I'm going to defend myself for years and ever.
That's okay.
Yeah, of course it's okay. I'm proud of myself for speaking up, but I'm not have somebody tell me to go back to my own country in my own country. Be honest, admit then. You say whatever you like. Well, it's what you're saying is racism, and I don't tolerate it. Not to me, not to anyone else as well. So I'm not.
You've got no respect for your elders.
How do I have? I have no respect for people that are racist. I'll tell you that. Yeah, thank you. Aye. You need to tell me to go back to my own country.
I
apologise for the late run of this train. Further information will be provided when
Nothing to do
available.
with your colour of your skin.
Yes, it is.
No, I'm sorry, it's
see, if you're going to be racist, be proud. And you were proud a minute ago, and now you don't have an audience. You're trying to backtrack. I'm not happy with.
I'm not saying that.
You are. You
I
did.
didn't say that.
I'm not going to
Respect
argue with you
your
anymore.
elders.
How can I respect a woman that sat there and been racist the full journey?
But no respect.
Of course. Do I respect you? Hell nah. I'm not going to respect you. I'm not respecting you.
No, it's about you.
You moved seat and then you were spraying Dettol all over the place, saying the place was effing stinking, and then moved seat behind me and said to go back to your own country. None of that's related to me, right? Okay.
No, it's nothing to do with your colour.
What's it to do with
Your
then?
pink, green and blue.
Well, what's it to do with then? You never said it to this young, beautiful girl. You never said it to her. Or you never said it to the guy who was sitting over there. And you know what they've got in common? They've got white skin. So you only said it to the brown person. Bit weird.
It's great. Your nails look great. Everything about you looks great. But I've just had a hell of a fucking day. Okay.
Sorry to hear that, but at the same time it doesn't justify being racist. That's all I'm saying, and we can close it at that. We'll leave it at that. You get on with your life, I'll get on with mine. Racist old woman. Spain.
Breaking news you can use, folks. You're gonna want to hear this. This is El Mac, a Scottish lass. Apparently, Karenism is not just an American trait. Some call her the red-haired Karen demon, but I call her Scar Armpit because of the obvious. Or sunburned titties, also because of the obvious. She's what I call a proper redbone because her orange-haired species have the lightest skin. Too pale for protection, so the sun seeps right through and puts a nice red colour on her very skeleton. Elmac here had a lot to say about Black Americans and Black American ignorance. She believes that Black Americans are really so ignorant that they were unaware of Black Scot existence. She's not the only one, but it doesn't show Black American ignorance like they think. It shows their ignorance. But that's what happens when you put your underweight nose all into black business. She's cut the comments off. It was too much for her, or the backlash. And this video is her explaining how she doesn't understand the reaction that she received in her comment section, because all she wanted to say was there was no racism and we Scotland. Well, as you can see, her video backfired. That's why her hair is that unnatural orange, and her chest showing clear signs of future skin melanoma. Unfortunately, it's too late for her to backpedal, but if she could, I believe she'd find a happy place with the British. The white Scots have a lot in common with the white British. Hopefully, the black Scots don't have a lot in common with the black Brits. But apparently, it's starting to look like that. Yes, Queen, shut your eyes and don't look at all the mess that you've caused yourself. This has been Scottish Crystal Black with news you can use. Toodaloo.
Because when you're black, you're never really lonely. There's always white person all up in your business. Damn it doesn't take long. It does not take long. White people are predictable. So over the last couple of days, there was a black Scottish man who went viral for complaining about the weather in Scotland. And a lot of black Americans are like, oh shit, we see black Scottish people on our For You page now. So they're trying to make connection with people that are in Scotland that are black. It's actually really cool to watch, because I'm the type of person, I want to know about black people all over the world. And our For You pages in America does not show black people all over the world. So I thought this was cool. So I'm watching videos, and here comes the white lady, the white woman, not minding her goddamn business, because black people are out here saying, oh, okay, how are black people treated in Scotland? Because we know in America how black people are treated here. So we were just asking questions. Are you treated well over there? Can black people go over there? Are we going to experience racism? And they were talking, the black Americans were talking to black Scottish people. And here comes this white lady.
So obviously in the last couple of days, we've just found out that the Americans didn't know that there was black Scottish people in Scotland, right? But the comment sections for me are just a little bit problematic. Do white people like black people over there? And that doesn't really sit right with me. Like, don't do that. Of course we like them because they're just normal human beings living their life. Like, don't do that. We don't differentiate here. You're just Scottish, that's it. The bottom line, you're just Scottish. We don't say white Scottish and black Scottish. That's not the way that it is here. It never has been that way here. If it has been, I've never been. How would we know because we're white? Well, we live here and it's a lived experience, right? So I feel like it's a very American way of thinking, and it's just not the way that it is over here.
This is what we're talking about. We weren't even talking to you. You don't get to talk for the black Scottish people on their experiences about racism. So if the black Scottish people come out here and say, oh, nah, man, it's cool, we don't experience nothing, that's their lived experience. And guess what? We're going to trust them more than we're going to trust you. Because anybody that says we do not see color is lying. You guys are lying. You do see color. Now, you might not be racist, but you see that I'm black, and I see that you're white. I hate that colorblind bullshit. It is absolutely annoying when black people are talking to each other. Here comes a white woman all up in the mix. Sit down. Let black people talk amongst each other. My goodness, you guys hate unity. And you hate black people talking about things that make you uncomfortable. It doesn't make us uncomfortable, it makes you. Instead of sitting down and listening to the experiences of black Scottish people, here you come with your mess. And it's real strange how you limited your comment section and deleted the video, because I can't find the video. Mind your business, lady. Mind your business.
So there is this guy who happens to be a Scottish guy. He came, I think he popped up on my For You as well, on the space of social, TikTok. And he was complaining about the weather. And his accent was so, oh my God, so many people were like, oh my God, where are you from? Where are you, from? So many, black Americans were like, oh my God, they were so they were so happy to come across, the said guy. And this guy happens to be a black guy living in Scotland. Like, I think he's a Scottish black guy. And after his video popped up, there were so many other black Scottish people coming up on their For You. Like, even myself, I was just one night scrolling, and I was just so overwhelmed with the accent and the way they talk, the way that they report. Like, personally, I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And the way at which black people were just all, oh my God, we find our cousins. Oh, it was so fulfilling. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. And so many people were like, oh, so black people existed in Scotland, and there are black Scottish, there are European Scottish, there are black, like, people were just so overwhelmed. Even if, yeah, there are so many black people who existed in this planet Earth. Like, the thing is that anywhere you go in this world, there is a black person. But I think people are just, trying to misunderstand people that looks like me, thinking that, oh, you don't know that they were. No, I think it's because these guys are not being, they are not on the front line, like they are not being shown on the space of the social platforms. Like, they're not being shown. I really understand where people that looks like me are coming from, but a lot of people will misunderstood them, And the thing is that these Scottish people have been there. I think they, like, just the way at which black people is everywhere, So one thing led to the other. There's a question, that's been asked. Black people were like, okay, the way you're living there, are you being treated the way at which we have been treated? So as to know if they can maybe go there for vacations and so. It's just a honest question. It's just because I think this is actually every question that every black person asks anytime they want to visit a place. You wouldn't blame them if they ask such a question, because races exist everywhere. The same way black people are being racially profiled or whatsoever in US, that is the same way they are being treated in Europe, anywhere all over the world. Sometimes when I stage video, I see other stages. I see other the way at, like, so far you have a melanin inside of you, no matter where you're coming from, no matter if you're Caribbean, African, black, European black, Australian black, wherever black that you are, wherever you come from, so far you have this dark or melanin inside of you. I think that there is a significant treatment that you receive different from the way at which a pan-colored person is being treated. Even if this pan-colored person is a Russian or a European, an American, a Canadian, like, that is just the truth. There is no need sugarcoating it, trying to make it look like people who are asking questions try to, like, oh, are you being treated, or how is the realities there? Like, these guys are just trying to be safe. And yes, racism is all over the place. It's everywhere in this world. So far, you're a black person. So far, you're living in all of these, Western countries. You as a black person, you'll be treated differently compared to it's nobody. And these, black brothers were just sisters were just asking how it's there, how they have been treated over there. And this pan-colored woman decided that she was going to take it upon herself to, like, come in between the discussion and start talking about, oh my God, we don't see. Like, seriously, that was why I have to go search for a particular Ray and cis thing, like, which I stitched here. Like, seriously. They were just asking the honest question, but you just have to jump into it and, oh my God, what are you saying? No. See, one thing is that people that look like me are very vocal. They call it out. They don't ignore. They don't like the way other people do. There is a way at which you will treat a black person in Europe, and this black person will just ignore it, and just black people's like, okay, maybe probably because they are immigrants and every other place. Maybe they don't have the power. But you see the ones in the US that have the origin, like okay, I don't even want to go into that. This is why they call it out, because they have the power to. They have the power to call it out. Maybe other people don't have the power to, but that does not necessarily mean that they don't feel, or they are not being treated, or they don't see racism. It's because they just want to let it go. They just accept it. And this woman is just like, I really am not the kind of person that indulge or try to stitch video that brings about black people all over the world dividing. That's why on this channel, lovelies, I have seen so many stitches, so many commentaries coming for me and all of that. I was like, on this platform, it is all about black people all over, like black unity. I am not here to do some diaspora whatsoever. No, 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 no. Any melanated person is my brother or my sister. I don't care if you accept me or not. I just take you as my brother or my sister. So far, you are melanin. That is it. That's why you don't see me teaching some of this annoying diaspora stuff. It's so annoying to see stuff like that. Like, I respect my brothers and my sisters. I respect their sacrifice. That is why I am so invested in knowing their history, because of the lies and propagandas. So if you're always coming to me on my commentary telling me, oh my God, please, I don't do that here. I love everyone here. And my brothers and sisters, do you know what I have learned? I have learned so much. I have learned so much. Anyway, lovelies, and I just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are all here for love. And I will see you, lovelies, when I upload.
So now just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So lovelies, wanna just leave me your own thoughts, subscribe, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.